Okay, YouTube, we are no longer working on the outside. We are now underneath the Pontiac Sunfire. Did some sandblasting. The exhaust is going to have to come out. I'm going to have to move this jack stand up to here because this strut's going to have to come out. This is all rotted out. This is all rotted out. This is definitely, you can see where it's all missing. This is all rotted. If I could put my finger in there, and I think I could get two in there. This whole area is rotted. It actually started pushing the subframe a little bit. So the car's tweaking itself with the suspension being on this, all this rot. Not going to be able to do nothing about that. I do not have that kind of equipment. But we are cutting. I'm going to have to drop this exhaust, drill all these rivets, and see how far back. Because what I'm going to do is just cut. Here I run into good metal. So I'm going to just cut all along here as far as I have to. Here I ran into good metal, so I'm going to cut across. And same thing, I'm going to cut. I'm going to replace this whole strip, weld it in. Then I will come and cut this, and I'll weld this in. And then I'm going to put a plate over the top of that to combine these. That way I'll weld it here, this piece to this. And then I'm going to put metal over it. And then what I'm thinking I'm going to do is, if you look at the Jeep XJ frame stiffeners, they take an angle iron and they cut slotches so you can bend it as you need. And I think I'm going to run that on the outside of the frame where I'll come to here and over. That way this will be new. This will be new and tied into this with that top plate, but then I think I'm also going to put a frame stiffener. I'm going to build one and bend it as needed and weld all that in. So this side definitely isn't as bad, but right here, it's bad. There's a little bit here, but back here is good. So just this area here is definitely going to have to get something done to it here also. Once we do that, this car will be safe to drive, but we got to get this fixed. And I already sandblasted. I got to get the exhaust out. I got to do a little bit more blasting here. I'm going to cover this evap again and start blasting some more. I know I definitely got a huge hole. I mean, I can get all 4 fingers in there, and I can get damn near my whole fist in this hole. So we're gonna get fixed up. That's definitely got some work to do ahead of us. All right, here's where we're at. I cut this piece out. I did come out far enough where I finally started hitting good metal. This is all rotted out towards the edge. I finally just kept hitting with the grinder until I saw shiny metal. So this is the patch we have to cut. Now we need more patching, but this is where we're at now. Here I don't have good metal. Here, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have to cut here because to do this properly, I need to drop the axle, remove the fuel lines, all the brake lines, everything. So I'm working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut here. Starting here, I got good metal. This up here, not so good. So I'm going to try just skimming this piece here. And then what I'm going to do, since it's good here and this is good, I'm going to put a plate on the inside stick it down in there. I'm going to drill holes in it, and then I can plug weld it to the good metal, and then I can weld that here, and it won't interfere with none of this. Clean this up, and the patch is going to set in here, and I'm just going to rough cut it off that template now, that piece I cut out, until it fits flush, and I'm going to weld all the way around except for here. And then, like I said, then I'm going to cut this out, weld a piece of metal, stick it down in there and plug weld it, and then, like I said, the patch will come over. I do got to replace this whole corner here. So I'll replace this whole corner, but I don't have lines, so I can replace this whole corner. Then once this is done, I put a lot of support back into the car. Then when I cut this patch, I might just leave it long enough, measure it to come back to here. Because if I can hit good shiny metal like this, that close, I'll call it good. But this is what, like I said, the sides were good, but this whole bottom, I thought I was gonna have to come farther down than this. I just kept checking. I finally hit good metal. I got out of the rust. I think the rust ended right about here where when I was checking, and I hit good metal. So I messed up in there, and I'm gonna paint all that, and then I'll just grind this edge here. Once I start welding, some of the heat transfer will come down and it'll bubble the paint some. But if I just do like 1-inch tacks, come over here and spread it, the heat ain't gonna go all the way down, so some of the paint will bubble closer in here. But all that, the paint isn't gonna come off of all that. It's just gonna be an extra layer of rust protection. You know, the proper way to do this would be to buy that Eastwood spray can on the hose. You put it in through a hole, and it's an encapsulator. It's kind of on the pricey side, so really not an option here. So I'm just going to sandblast it, paint it, and weld my patch in. All right, all I did, I took the piece we cut out, and I kind of forced it flat. This rolls a little bit here. That we can, when we're fitting the patch, we'll take care of that. Then I'll just slowly, wherever, because I'm going to cut this on my line or to this side of the line, because I'd rather grind it to fit than cut it too small, because then I'm screwed. So I drew my line just straight up, and I'm going to cut it not crossing into this side of the line, and that'll be my patch to go in there, and that'll take care of the, I don't know if you really saw any of that. I guess I didn't have it turned right, but this is the trunk cross member. It's on top, so we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to get this patch to fit, get it welded in, then we're going to start on this cross member piece where the cross member comes off. So okay. All right, there's our patch. We're gonna grind it to fit. Made out of 3/16. So, a little bit oversized, but that was my goal. Like I said earlier, we're gonna hold it up, grind, hold it up, and I'm gonna take a Sharpie under with me, and we're just gonna keep marking as we go for where we need to grind, and that way it's gonna be a perfect fit. Don't, you know, do it once. Don't just, you know, some people might have said, oh, just cut a big chunk, slap it on, welt. If I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it right, you know. This is how I do my vehicle, and that means if someone hires me to do it, that's how I'm going to do theirs. I'm not cutting corners. All right, here's where we're at. We got that piece welded in. Now, the issue we have is this whole section here is bad. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to torch this out, use the plasma cutter, torch here over to here and down. I'm going to put a piece of angle iron there because this is all rotted anyway. So what I'm going to do is see how far up angle iron would do, cut it to fit. That way I can just weld the angle iron right in this corner up here and all the way over to here. Then when I weld this piece in, I can just weld it to the angle iron, and then the angle iron will just make, since this is all going to get cut out, I'll just run a bead on the angle iron around, so then it'll all tie in together. So that's where we're at right now. This is this piece welded in. So this is our next thing. I'm gonna, like I said, just cut this. I'm gonna worry about getting this fixed before I worry about this cross member. And then, like I said, the angle iron I'm gonna bring up to like here. Then when I tie this cross member in, I can tie it to the angle iron, and I think we'll be good to go on that. Like I said, it's not the best way to do it, because on a car here, you know, the exhaust, everything out of the way, the fuel lines. I am going to have to redo one of the brake lines because I hit this brake line, put a pretty big gouge in it. So I'm going to rebuild this brake line here. But that's where we're at. So trying to figure it out as I go. So, but once I figure it out, we'll come back. All right, I cut out what I could here because all the lines are on the other side of this. So I would really like to cut all this back and do it, but we just ain't got the car that long. This corner of the frame rail was bad, so I got that cut out. So what I'm gonna do now, this is all 1/8 inch metal. Here, right here where they all joined, and I'm gonna rejoin them because once I put the angle iron in here, I'm gonna run a plate across top, but this is 3/16 that I put in the main arch. So what I'm gonna do is I gotta cut this to fit. I'm gonna put a piece of angle iron there. That will cover this hole, and this angle iron I don't think is going to work. It's not deep enough. I'm going to have to get another piece of this, and I'm going to have to cut it to fit, but this is going to go in there. I got some 2-inch angle. I'm going to have to go get that. I didn't know if this would fit or not. This is out of my scrap. So I'm going to put a piece of angle here anyway, and then I'm going to put a flat plate. There's going to be a piece of angle iron here. This has got to get cut shorter because the frame curves, but it's going to go like that. I got to weld this up. I started trimming my metal. I trimmed too much, but I'll fix that. So this is going to go like this, but it's only going to be about this far. Then this piece of angle is going to come in, and it's going to weld right to that. Then I'm going to take a flat piece of metal, I'm going to band across here. Then that's going to take care of this, and that's where we're going to have to call it. Like I said, I'd have to drop this, all the lines, to just replace the whole cross member, and it's just not feasible working on a budget here. So, you know, we're doing what we can, and it's still going to be a lot stronger than what it was. There's no doubt about that. So,